two statues you see on the sides. The one is called Taigetos, which is the mountain of Sparta. The other is called Evrotas, the river. This is something that in antiquity they would often do. They would often have a mythological scene, for example, in between two statues representing two bodies of water, for example. Two landmarks. So you can understand where this thing happened. So in this case, they're simply talking about Sparta. The land between the river and that mountain is the area of Sparta. Now the soldiers you see there are just Greeks on both sides. They don't have any Persian mentioned here. The person there is King Leonidas. The phrase, the two words underneath, Molon Laves, come and get them. It's been a battle cry of the Greek army since that day. We always use that. This is definitely not the way the Spartans would have dressed back then. Absolutely not naked. First of all, they always wore this tunic. Sometimes you do find naked soldiers in Greek sculpture and Greek pottery. For the most part, it's artistic convention. First of all, you cannot put first of all, if you did not have their armor, they would have never survived the Persians. Why? Greeks were the heaviest infantry of the time, so they had the armor. And then, of course, they're always wearing tunic. The Spartans, the red tunic for the blood thing, not to show. And then again, in Greece, it can be really hot in summer, you can get sunburn, and then in winter, you definitely need so much more. Not to mention that you cannot put your arm over your naked body. So ideas like people fighting naked, no. We do have some cases in other cultures or even in Greece at times, but that's a completely different thing. It never happened here. Now, actually go around, you'll see the 300 Greek Americans that actually paid for this monument. Now, it seems that the sea back then was we have the actually behind the trap house. That was a coastline. And you have to think that probably 2,500 years ago, the slope was not this gentle. Probably these are land slides that came over the centuries. The whole thing was like steep, completely. Or if you like, steeper. Because I think we have a fault line right here. That's what happens. And further in, the sea went closer to the rock. So behind the pine trees is the actual place where the battle was fought. But you have to imagine the whole thing being steep and the coastline going like this. That's why indeed it was a strait. So the main part of the battle was over there. We still have the remains of that wall that was used by the Spartans. We'll usually find in front of that. So that's where we had the 2 days of fighting. The third day the Spartans pushed even further back there, trying to kill as many Persians as they could. And by the time the immortals who had to move for quite a few hours around this mountain range, making a big circle all the way down there before the village had passed. At some point they started